Hey, what up, everybody? It's your boy Matthew Maley from MatthewMaley.com, coming at you with another weekly movie review. Back on my trusty couch. It is Friday night, and I've got another review for you. So this week, for our Friday night, I wanted to go with a comedy, actually, that I didn't hear much about, and so I really didn't have an opinion beforehand, other than my predetermined notions regarding this actor. So it was kind of cool going into a movie rather blind. I'm referring to the new Will Ferrell movie called Everything Must Go. It's also starring Christopher Jordan Wallace, who, if you guys are into hip-hop, is the son of the late and absolutely greatest of all time, notorious B.I.G, a.k.a. Biggie Smalls, a.k.a. Christopher Wallace. So it's actually his son. If you guys saw the Notorious movie, this is actually the kid that played Biggie as a child from I think it's ages 7 to 13 or 8, something like that. So it was cool seeing him. As soon as I saw him, it was like, boom, that's Biggie's kid. You know, you could just tell. There's a lot of similarities. Also stars Glenn Howerton. Well, I can't even say stars. That's a small part by Glenn Howerton. For those of you who watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia, it's Glenn from that. Which Always Sunny is actually coming out this next week. We got 6 days. Oh, I'm excited. I love Always Sunny. As well as Stephen Root has a little part in it. And I believe Rebecca Hall, that's her name, Rebecca Hall, was in The Town. That's probably the only thing people would know her from. But essentially, and I'm sorry, how could I forget him? Michael Pena, who's my dude from Shooter, from Crash, and a whole bunch of other really good movies. He's really a good actor. He's kind of underrated at this point. Finally starting to pick up some good roles and get some fanfare because he's a really solid actor. But the movie stars Will Ferrell, like I said, and for anybody who's ever talked movies with me before, I don't want to say I'm not a Will Ferrell fan because that's not fair. I do very much like Will Ferrell, and I do think he's very funny, but I usually do not like him as a star in a movie. Personally, again, my 15 cents, because it's way more talking than 2 cents because I talk so damn much, is that Will Ferrell is not the best leading man. When he is a leading man, I feel that it's just overload. In a lot of ways, kind of Jim Carrey, where I like Jim Carrey in moderation, but when it's all Jim Carrey all the time, it's just a little too much for me. And I'm the same way with Will Ferrell. Pretty much all Will Ferrell movies that, he was the star in, I did not like the first time through. I will admit, most of these movies grew on me. First time I saw Step Brothers, I really didn't like it that much. By the 5th or 6th time I saw it, it was actually the movie that my boss had in his DVD player in his car. So every time we go to lunch, I'd watch part of it. And, now I think it's pretty funny. And would watch it again. Same thing with Anchorman. First time Anchorman came out and I watched it, I didn't like it at all. I didn't get what all the hype was about. He says dumb things that don't make sense. San Diego doesn't really mean a whale's vagina. Come on. And it wasn't really that funny to me. Watched it multiple times. Now I really like it. Same thing as the story of Ricky Bobby. I think that's about Ricky Bobby. Whatever. Ricky Bobby. Talladega Nights. Come on now. Now when it comes to movies of his that I did like, it's usually ones where he has more of a helper role. My favorite role of his was Old School. I thought he played Frank the Tank amazingly. I loved that movie. Even his part in Wedding Crashers, which granted it wasn't that big of a part, but I thought he was hilarious in that. I really like him on all the Old School Saturday Night Lives. There's enough other characters and enough segments to break up all of him. Which, I'm not saying he's not a comedic genius, because obviously he is. He has more talent than most people would ever, have from a comedic standpoint. And his sketch work is incredible. So, I will say, I was never that big of a fan of him as a solo actor, so I really didn't know what to expect from this. I knew it was going to be something different than the normal Will Ferrell movie, just based on, the box even, and watching the trailer as soon as I saw it, that was the movie I was going to be reviewing this week. So you could tell it was going to be a different movie, but still, I had some reservations because it's still Will Ferrell. So the movie essentially follows the life of, not even the life, the weekend of a regional salesman, essentially, who is battling sobriety and has a relapse and binge drinks for a weekend and the fallout of it is more than, imaginable, in that he loses his job, his wife leaves him, and, the Murphy's Law path of whatever can happen, bad will happen when the floodgates open kind of starts. So he comes home from losing his job, to see that literally all of his possessions are out on his front porch, and his wife is nowhere to be found. So in the process of falling apart, he starts drinking again, and it's showing him get to rock bottom and try to rebound. Try, keyword there, while dealing with, trying to decide what he wants from his wife, rather than, at first he just thinks, oh, well, all he wants is just her. And then you start seeing him come to grips with things. And it really was a very well done movie. Big props to Will Ferrell, because he really did a great job showing the transition, even though it technically only takes place over like 5 or 6 days, showing the transition from the character that you meet in the very beginning of the movie to the character that you meet at the end of the movie. It was very impressive. It's mainly him and a bunch of cans of Pabst Blue Ribbon Ale, as well as Christopher Wallace, who plays the son of a house sitter or a housekeeper that lives on the same block, who comes down and is helping Will Ferrell's character, while he decides that he wants to just live in his front yard rather than, try to pick himself up and find a place to live. He would rather just sit in his front yard and binge drink on all of his, whatever possessions he has left. So there are some pretty funny moments in that aspect while he's, binge drinking sitting on a recliner in the middle of his front yard. And there's some very witty dialogue back and forth between Christopher Wallace's character and his that, for a young kid, the kid's supposed to be, I don't know, I think he said he was in like 5th or 6th grade, maybe 7th or 8th, I don't know. Essentially in that, end of middle school kind of range. And he's definitely wise beyond his years, and he actually shows a desire of sales as well. So it's kind of cool watching Will Ferrell's character teach this kid some sales tips, as well as getting into some almost fatherly advice in a way, which is really kind of cool. It was unlike anything you've ever seen of Will Ferrell, I'll tell you that right now. It was a lot, in my opinion, to when Adam Sandler went and did the movie Punch Drunk Love, which is also a very good movie, and a complete 180 from the typical Adam Sandler movies. The Billy Madisons, the Happy Gilmores, all those. Then you had him go the complete opposite direction with Punch Drunk Love. It's very similar to this. It is not Talladega Nights. It is not Old School. It is not any of the movies of his that I did like or I didn't like. It's not of any of those. It's something completely different. And it's kind of refreshing in a way to see something so different, so out of left field, not what you were expecting in any way. So I really did like it for that aspect. Michael Pena has a really good part in it as well. Plays a police officer. He's actually a detective, and one of his really good friends, who also is in the program and battling, is staying sober, as well as Will Ferrell's wife. So that adds a dynamic as well. While Will Ferrell's relapsing, Will Ferrell's wife and his pretty much best friend, from what we can tell, are still in the program. So that adds a lot of tension as well. And overall, I was very impressed with the movie. There were some quirky characters, and throughout the whole thing, it was really cool. One of the reason why he's allowed to stay on his lawn is Michael's character, the detective's character, gets him pretty much the only way he could skirt the law, which is he's having a yard sale. So for 5 days, he's allowed to stay in his yard. And it shows the growth between not wanting to sell any of his possessions and holding on to the past, transitioning to where he's actually at peace with selling some of his possessions and transitioning to the future. So it really was cool. And one of the things that really did help get him through that was the character played by Rebecca Hall, who is a pregnant wife of a salesman who actually just moved from the East Coast pregnant by herself while her husband is out on business. And it's cool because she needs a friend because she's all alone and pregnant. He needs a friend because he's all alone and drunk. And they get into some interesting moments and some heated moments as well when Will Ferrell, in a rather self-deprecating way, explains that this is all she has to look forward to. This is their future. So it was very interesting. It was a little predictable. I mean, you did see some of the stuff that was coming, but there was some stuff that was just crazy. There's a scene with Stephen Root's character that it's something. That's all I'm going to say. Like, you need to see it just to see what that is. I'm not saying see the movie just for that scene. The movie's a good movie. That scene's just, it's something. Anyway, but overall, I like the movie a lot, honestly. I'm giving it a solid 4 stars, which to me is a good movie. It wasn't a great movie. It wasn't a classic movie. It was a good movie worth watching. Redbox it, Blockbuster Express it. If it's on TV, definitely watch it. I would say this movie is worth a rental, even a full-price rental at Blockbuster. Go pay the $3.99 or whatever it is. Though, does anybody even go to Blockbuster anymore? Doesn't everybody just go to the kiosks or Netflix? So, if you are looking for a good flick with some good comedy elements, but overall is a really surprisingly good character study, really going over Will Ferrell's character as well as his interpersonal relationships with each one of the individual characters in the movie. I definitely recommend it. Again, the movie's called Everything Must Go, and I definitely did like it. There's some twists and turns. There's some stuff that does keep you, wondering. While most of it is pretty self-explanatory, pretty by the numbers, there is some good acting in it. And the thing I really liked, and you guys know I'm a sucker from my review of Take Me Home Tonight, is it was filmed all in Arizona. So when the police get called, it's a Scottsdale police car, one of their Chargers. It was cool seeing that. In fact, it was probably a Charger that pulled me over, one of the many times. And, seeing that it was filmed all in Phoenix and Scottsdale, and, while he's a scene where he's riding a bike, you see a street sign, and hey, I know that street sign, it was just cool. I don't know why. I'm a sucker for that stuff. I just really do like seeing Arizona captured on film. So it was really cool seeing that, and that probably, is what boosted up my rating a little bit even more. So overall, I like the movie. Give it 4 stars. Some really good acting. Will Ferrell, good job. I don't know if I'm going to buy it. It was kind of one of those movies, in my opinion, doesn't have a whole lot of rewatchability. I liked it, and usually 4-star movies I do add to my collection, but in my opinion, it might not have been, quite rewatchable. Overall, the movie was good enough. It's not something I see myself wanting to watch again or, put on just on a random, Wednesday night or something. So overall, I like the movie a lot, but I personally would not buy it. I would say it's worth renting, though, at whatever price, and definitely check it out. So if you like it, let me know what you think. If you hated it, let me know what you think. Did you like that Will Ferrell's kind of going a different direction than usual, Different than his standard, by the book, I don't even want to say slapstick comedy, but character comedy, if you will, because pretty much most of his movies lately have been character comedies. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys think I'm totally off for not loving Will Ferrell. I know I'm going to get a lot of comments about that because people love Will Ferrell's ass, which, understandable. He's hilarious. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you want to see me review another movie specifically, let me know. I'll check it out. And of course, if you want to check out my other videos, I'd really appreciate it. Up on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, putting up videos constantly. So I really appreciate all the views, all the comments, all the messages, all that. Much love. Thank you. Of course, search for me and like my page on Facebook. Search for MatthewMaleyPoker. Follow me at MatthewMaley. And always MatthewMaley.com, your #1 poker video blog and the whole entire galaxy. At least I think so. And don't tell me it's not. You'll hurt my ego. Anyway, thanks again for checking out my videos. Friday night, actually it's Saturday morning now, and probably going to watch something else. Maybe catch up on some TV. So hope everybody has a real great, safe weekend, and do it big. Peace out, y'all.